You're training hard, you're eating clean, you're doing everything right. So why are you still struggling to build muscle? Or even worse, you're gaining belly fat you weren't expecting? The answer might not be your workout plan, not even your diet. It might be something much more silent, but it's affecting your body 24/7. And the answer is cortisol, your stress hormone. In this video, I'm going to tell you and explain to you why it can affect your body and flunk your progress at the gym and even be correlated with your mental state right now. So stay tuned for this video to know everything about cortisol. So what is cortisol? It's a type of glucocorticoid, a type of steroid hormone that is made by our adrenal glands in our kidneys, and it's derived from cholesterol present in our blood. So when our body feels stressed, and that can be from a life-threatening situation or even too much workout, that's a type of stress in our body. Our hypothalamus triggers the release of hormone, a neurotransmitter, that acts on our pituitary gland, and then it releases ACTH that's going to act on our adrenal gland, picking up that free cholesterol that is stored and then transforming it into pregnenolone and then progesterone and then cortisol. You can see the full pathway over here and the full synthesis right here. When our body feels stressed, it raises the cortisol. In a long term, it's bad, but when it's done properly, when your body is functioning normally, it's very good because it can help you stay alert. It can help you mobilize energy into doing something about that life-threatening or threatening situation and make you not stumble. And that's why it's very important. But when it stays high for long periods of time, then it can really hurt you, like your progress at the gym or even your mental health. So now that you know what cortisol is and you know what triggers it to be released in your body, let's break it down. How can it hurt your progress at the gym? So the number one thing that can happen is an increased appetite, because during chronic stress, our body releases cortisol, and then that cortisol is going to trigger the action of ghrelin that's always going to be released in our body by our stomach, and that triggers our appetite, is the hunger hormone. And because of that, we're going to feel the need to eat more high sugar food, because in your brains, in your bodies, we have that underlying need to store food, store energy to do something about that life-threatening situation or that stress that's affecting your body 24/7. During our ancestors' time in the jungles or the savannah, we needed that to have energy to run from predators or to fight all these things. But today is much more psychological, like work, like traffic. All these things are stressors for a body. Our brain's gonna distinguish between that situation of work, being able to pay rent, from running from a tiger in the jungle. So the body is the same, but the situation is different. That's why we feel the need to eat these foods constantly when we high on stress or high on cortisol, and that affects other things as well, like our VTA, which is ventral tegmental area in your brain. That those food, like those high processed foods, they affect this area, which is the reward system in our brain that releases dopamine in our brain, and from that we feel that constant need to eat those food over and over and over again to have that dopamine in your brains. The second thing that can happen is cortisol can affect your sleep cycle, because we're high on stress. That makes our body stay alert, and that affects your sleep. So when you have poor sleep, you have more stress because your body cannot rest, your brain cannot shut down, and it becomes a vicious cycle, which bring us to another question that is very correlated with this. Because you have high stress, you cannot recover during sleep time. That also breaks down our muscle. We send those cortisols to our bodies signaling, hey, we need more energy. So it breaks down your muscles to take that glucose to go to your brains. And because you cannot sleep, you cannot rest, and you constantly in that high stress thing, you cannot see progress because the little progress you have, it's consumed by cortisol and that stressors you have. And the other thing, it can lower testosterone. And you see how all these things are correlated because one thing affects another that affects another. It's like a domino effect. So if you have poor sleep, then you're gonna have poor outcome at the gym. You're gonna have energy to give your best at the gym, and you're gonna feel bad about it, and then you're gonna have poor recovery, and that's gonna raise our cortisol level again, and you eat worse because you need it. It's all a domino effect. One thing leads to another that leads to another. So now you may be asking, what signs you can check to see if your cortisol levels are high? Well, you can do a blood test, or you can do much more cheaper, which is trying to see how your sleep cycle is. If you're being able to sleep, if you feel fatigued during the day, or if you feel the need to constantly be eating uh, those high processed foods, high sugar foods, to maintain your energy levels. That's one big factors of high cortisol. If you cannot stop snacking here and there, that's can be a very big sign. But the good news is not everything is lost because our body can adapt to multiple situations and it can adapt to lowering the stress as well. So the first thing to do is fixing your sleep schedule because that's gonna have huge impact both in your mental health and your stress levels. So the best thing to do is to sleep from 7 to 9 hours a day. But if you cannot have a good quality sleep, you can also have some strategies that you can do. For example, you can start by lowering your stimulants consumption, like caffeine, like drinking too much coffee or energy drinks. Lowering your screen time before bed because blue light can affect your how your body releases melatonin because it feels like for your brain that you're still during the day. So you release less melatonin, and that is not very good for you. And another thing you can do is take melatonin to bring it back to the normal state. The next thing you can do is eat healthy, stop eating too much of those processed foods or high sugar meals like donuts, like pizza, like all these other things. You can certainly have a junk day, where you can eat those things, but on a daily basis, for you to have a good functioning body, you lowering the consumption of high fat, high sugar meals, they can seriously have an effect on your body for the good, for the positive. And also checking your mental health, which is very important. Nowadays, we feel very stressed because of social media, of work, and all these things that are happening around the world now. And one thing you can do is ask for help to a psychologist, or you can start journaling, reading a book, getting off of social media a little bit so you can be more in tune with yourself as well. So now that you know everything about cortisol, you can start by doing those changes and seeing that cortisol level lowering over time and you seeing progress at the gym. So my name was Fabrizio. Thank you so much. If you feel like I did a good video, you can subscribe here and leave a comment. Thank you.